Hello, Earth signs, and welcome into your reading for the first half of April, where we'll be taking a look at jobs and careers, love and relationships, and life path and mission. And as always, before we get started here, we're going to go ahead and grab one of these crystal cards. So most of these have a crystal on it. Sometimes it's just a message, but we'll see if there's a specific crystal that you are being encouraged to work with during the first half of the month. So let's take a look at what comes through. Moldavite, synchronicities, chakra activating, and transcendence. So this is a lot to do with coming into a sense of awakening on your spiritual journey. So with a lot of times also, if you're on a twin flame journey, they'll talk about, did you have a Kundalini awakening? And so talking about activating different chakras, are you seeing synchronicities, and are that sense of transcendence of realizing that you are not of the 3D matrix, and that the core of who you are is higher than that. So it's kind of that higher consciousness. So that will be one of the cards that we'll kind of keep here on the side as some overriding messages for the first half of the month. So I'm going to go ahead and do the general read, and then we'll go sign by sign after taking a look at some cards in general for earth signs. And a few things as I'm shuffling here. So I'm doing this on April 2nd. Normally I have them out a little bit earlier, but with the holiday this weekend and just lots of heavy energies, Spirit was telling me that I needed to rest and recuperate a little bit. But we did have Mercury go into retrograde yesterday, and it will stay there until the 25th. And so remember, Mercury retrograde is, it kind of shines a light on issues that you may be having. Like it's kind of characterized by communication issues, technology issues, timing types of issues. You may notice that you're more irritable. You may be having more arguments or miscommunications with people that you're close to. All right, so we'll look at job and career, and I'll continue to talk about some of the other big things that are happening in the recent past. For job and career, we have Seven of Pentacles in reverse, currently sitting in Knight of Cups energy, and Page of Wands energy in reverse is the next one coming in. So with Pentacles, in the recent past, there's been this sense of like kind of lacking effort or abandoning projects at work. So maybe things were starting to kind of go well at work, and then you just sort of lost momentum, lost enthusiasm for your job. You're currently sitting in this kind of diplomat, like negotiator type of energy. And, so if there had been issues of your efforts were tapering off and you were feeling unrewarded, like you might be trying to renegotiate something at work, like renegotiate for a different position, or maybe you were getting called out at work and you're trying to kind of artfully redirect so that you don't get in trouble at work. And we'll see kind of how this looks for each individual sign. The Page of Wands in reverse is that next level of energy coming in. So this is a little bit of this kind of like indecisiveness, and you just don't really know what direction to go. So it's like you're trying to craft this negotiation or this solution, but either it's unsuccessful or it's like you're crafting it to try to get to a better place, and then maybe you get there and you still feel like, okay, I still don't know what direction I'm going. It's not like once I got what I was trying to craft, now all of a sudden everything feels so much better. Like you're still kind of in this directionless, dull, indecisive place. So that is for job and career. Next line that we'll take a look at for our earth signs in general is love and relationships. And relevant to that, on the 5th, so coming up in just a couple days here, we have Venus entering Aries. And that is this energy of take the initiative in love. Make your relationship feel fresh and new again, and kind of just additional energy and focus towards your relationships and towards your passions. So Venus is also just in general about your passions. So we have that energy coming through. And that is also going to be laced in here with the energy of the Aries solar eclipse that's coming up. And that is a total North Node eclipse. And it's conjoining Chiron and Mercury. So there's this big energetic push to start new beginnings. And it's this really big energetic push to leave the familiar place that you've outgrown. So you could be in, you know, for example, maybe it's a job that you've outgrown and you've been trying to negotiate a different role or a different position or something that's going to breathe a little bit more excitement into it because you've outgrown it. This 7 of Pentacles in reverse, you're lacking efforts, you're feeling unrewarded, like you're just unenthused by your job. So that could be a familiar place that you've outgrown. We'll see what this looks like as it relates to relationships. Maybe you've outgrown a relationship, like you've learned whatever lesson you're going to learn there, and it's just time to, be done. So one of the things, for example, and this has kind of been a mantra that I've been sitting with, and is the idea of telling yourself like that you'll only allow yourself to be in situations that feed your soul or facilitate your growth. So if that relationship is not feeding your soul, like it's not making you happy, it's not making you feel like, oh, this is the right path for me, but it's also not spurring your growth anymore, like as in you've learned the lessons you're going to learn from this person, so staying with them is just going to keep looping these same lessons over and over again, then it might be time to consider whether that's really a connection that is worth it for you to just keep energetically pouring yourself into. So, because remember the Libra lunar eclipse that happened on the 25th. So, like, what was that, a week ago? That was having to do a lot with culminations in relationships and, being more committed to those that you have a good connection with and really facing some maybe hard decisions on people that you don't have a good connection with. So let's take a look at the relationship line here. In the recent past, we have the 4 of Cups in reverse. So there's the sense of self-awareness and like this sadness about accepting what cannot change. So again, as I was talking about, that this push during the solar eclipse is to leave the familiar places that you've outgrown. It's kind of like there's the sense of accepting what you can't change. And there is a sadness to it. So, that's never easy, but sometimes what's right is not what's easy. So there can be a sadness to it. But there's also this sense of accepting what can't change. And you have more of a sense of self-awareness of what's going on. You're currently sitting in the 3 of Cups energy is this like celebration and friendship and community type of energy. So there is a sense of relief that comes along with acknowledging the situation for what it really is. And like accepting if it can't change, it can't change. But how do I get into more of a sense of community? So, maybe you've been looking more towards your friendships because the 3 of Cups is about friendship as well. So it could be a sense of strengthening your friendship, drawing on your circle to help you through this situation. And then the next level of energy coming in is the 5 of Pentacles in reverse, which is about overcoming adversity, and it's about forgiveness and moving on. So and this will resonate differently with different people. So forgiveness and moving on can either be, hey, I'm forgiving the person for what they did. Let's lean into it and move forward under a new set of circumstances. This accepting what cannot change. So if you've been having the same argument over and over with the person, maybe you get to a point of being like, okay, I realize that it's not going to change. And so then, you talk to your friends and you kind of have that feeling of friendship, and then you restructure in your mind the relationship paradigm that you're in, or it can be actually moving on from the person. Like, okay, I've tried my hardest. I've done what I can do in this situation. It's not going to change. It's time to move on. But I feel like, especially for the people where that is the case, where you are physically moving on from the relationship, leaving the relationship, this sense right now of that friendship and community and celebration, it's like that is what is getting you ready to move on. Like you need the help and support of your tribe, of your friends, and then you will be ready to move on. But it's kind of like, you know, that you need some additional help, support, strength in order to do that. All right, so let's take a look at life path and mission. In the recent past, we have the Magician in reverse, currently the Tower, that sort of energy. And then the next one is the Nine of Wands, the next level coming in. So the Magician in reverse is all about feeling like your talents have been wasted. So kind of that sense of, you know, you feel like you're destined to do more in life than what you're currently doing. So like you have these gifts, these talents, these things to share with the world, and they're just being wasted. And so that's kind of what you feel like, is that you've been treading water. You haven't really done what you came here to do. You're just kind of being stuck in some old pattern. So it's like that sense of transcending. Can you transcend what the current energy is to be able to share that gift? With the Tower coming in, that is going to be like level setting things so that you can move on to the next point in your life. Because remember, the Tower is there. That's the universe's way of saying, okay, lesson learned. Let's, bulldoze this house so that we can build the next one in its place. Like you can't build a brand new home over, a frame that's termite ridden and rotting and falling apart. Like just tear it down and build something new. So it's like your life purpose is going to be coming in new. So the next level of energy there is your Nine of Wands. So this is that making a stand, that it's like, okay, I realize that I'm here to do something more than this. So, I'm going to stand on this fallen tower and rebuild myself. So this is kind of that Phoenix energy of, it has to burn to ashes first in order to rise up from that. So this can also be, sometimes your life path and mission will be intertwined with somebody else. So if this is the case for you, you may have been in this situation, and maybe you'd stayed in this situation because you felt like that was part of your life path, that you were here to accomplish something with this other person. Maybe it was to start a family with this person, to start a business, whatever the case may be. And then, as you're contemplating, wait a second, is that really the case? And you're looking at moving on from that. That's part of the Tower moment, that if you're moving on from that, it can also come with this sense of Tower of, no, that's no longer my life purpose. It's not to say you were wrong, that wasn't your life purpose, but maybe that was your purpose for those chapters within your life, for that act in the play, that was your purpose. But, it no longer is, because you're moving on from that person, from that situation. So, and I do think it's funny that here we have Scorpio, as it's just like sitting here, just kind of perfectly positioned. And so that's kind of that Tower type of energy. So let's go ahead and jump in, and we're going to look sign by sign. So we will start with Taurus. So let's see what messages want to come in specifically for Taurus, and then we'll pull some tarot cards and then also the oracle cards. So starting off here with Taurus, job and career, the Magician in reverse, and the Queen of Wands. So two Magician in reverse. So you do have this energy, Taurus, that your skills and your talents and your gifts are not being fully utilized. It also has to do with a lack of planning. So some of this too with the Magician, because the Magician is also about manifesting. So there's a sense of, you're not planning for the future, and therefore you're not manifesting a better future, because you're just so focused right now on this moment that you're not even thinking about the future. And then by default, that means that you're not manifesting a better future. You're not manifesting a higher vibe situation to come in because you're just, not planning for that. We also do have the Queen of Wands energy coming in for you, and that's going to be a sense of kind of like joy and courage and confidence. And as you're trying to, I guess, negotiate whatever a revised scenario is for you, you do have that joy and that confidence as you're trying to manifest that. But then there's also this sense of lack of direction. So let's pull one more card and see what is the advice from Spirit as it pertains to this job. The Moon. There might be things happening at your job that you don't know about. The Moon is about what you don't see. It's about deception and trickery and illusions and kind of some of this subconscious energy, a little bit of maybe like some anxiety. And so there's something going on behind the scenes at this job that you're not aware of, that maybe somebody's intentionally trying to keep from you. All right, let's take a look at love and relationships for Taurus and see what all other messages want to come through for you. Page of Wands and 10 of Wands. Your Page of Wands energy is going to be some of this excitement and happiness and optimism. And there's also this card of being overwhelmed and burdened. And the way that this is coming through in this reading is that this burden has to do with this 4 of Cups in reverse, with this sadness and accepting what can't change, is that it's so much of a burden for what can't change. And this excitement and optimism, when you get together with your friends and they start encouraging you to really think about yourself and your own happiness, it starts to get some of this excitement building for a better future, building some excitement about moving on and about leaving. Because the five of Pentacles in the upright is really about hardship and struggle and feeling like you're being locked out of your blessings and you're out in the cold. And so in the reverse, it's about moving on from that. And it's like there's a sense of excitement about moving on from this situation that is leaving you feeling overburdened, kind of transcending that situation. So let's pull a timing card to see when that moving on looks like it's happening. Once you can forgive them. And so with this card, that was one of the pieces of the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. It's about moving on and about forgiveness. So once you can forgive them, you can move on. And remember, forgiveness is not a free pass for them. It's not to say, hey, I don't care about what you did. Remember, the forgiveness is for you. The forgiveness is your way of being able to energetically detach from something that somebody else did to you. And it is all about freeing yourself up from it. So if somebody lied to you about something really important, if this, in a relationship line, it's probably that they lied to you about something important. They cheated on you. They, something along those lines. They stole money from you, whatever it is. You forgiving them is not about absolving them of any of their wrongdoing. It's about saying, you know what, that happened, but I'm energetically detaching from that. It doesn't mean that you have to continue to let them be in your life. It just means that you're no longer going to allow that situation to affect your happiness and affect your energetic field. All right, now let's take a look at life path and mission and see what wants to come through there. Justice in reverse and the Fool. So Justice in reverse is going to be about kind of having things being out of whack, like out of sync there. It's about broken promises and avoiding responsibilities. There's dishonesty with it. There's some unfairness to it. And then the next part is the Fool. So the Fool, kind of this fresh new start, comes after the Tower. I mean, chronologically, when you look at the tarot, The tower is 16. So you do still have more things that happen after the tower. Like there's the star, which is about hope. There's the sun, you're getting your blessings. There's the world, which is the completion of a cycle. But it's that whole idea of the tower has to happen so that you can have a new beginning. And that new beginning is coming for you in terms of your life path and mission. It's just a matter of you being able to see what that is and feel what that is. Here, some of these, I'll hold them up so you can see them a little better. Here's our Justice in reverse card. And here's a card with the Fool. So the doggy has his little pack on his stick. He's getting ready to take that leap of faith. And so with the Justice in reverse being about like avoiding your responsibilities, and it kind of has an abuse of power type of thing, it's almost like there was maybe an abuse of power. Like if you felt like your talents were being wasted, were you keeping yourself in a position where somebody else was abusing their power over you? Or was it, if you had any sort of bitterness or resentment about the fact that you felt like your gifts were not being able to be shared with the world, and so you were abusing that power by taking it out on somebody else. But whatever that situation is, it looks like that is crumbling, that's going away, so that you can start something new. So you can start a new chapter where you're happy, where you're feeling like your talents are being used. So let's take a look at some oracle cards here. The answers you need are coming. And that could be in any of these places. This is full moon in Gemini. Gemini is all about communication, and Gemini is coming up relatively soon. It's middle of May through middle of June. But part of it is you may not have been making moves because you were waiting for certain answers. And especially with the eclipse coming up next week on Monday, that can help shed some light on certain situations. There's going to be such a big energetic push between the lunar eclipse that we're still kind of, I guess, in maybe a little bit of the shadow period from that, Mercury retrograde, Venus entering Aries, and the solar eclipse, like all those energies kind of coming together, especially with the eclipse conjoined with Chiron and Mercury. There's a big push to start, like to kind of get those new beginnings and to just leave behind what isn't working. For our light worker card, we had in Rama, where are you being called to journey to? And I think that really is going down here with your life path and mission. Where are you being called to go? Are you, and whether this line feeds that line or vice versa, because a lot of times people end up in relationships because, or not necessarily because, but there's a huge amount of interdependence between who your partner is, who your life partner is, and what your mission in life is. A lot of times they're very closely intertwined. So if you are with somebody who makes you unhappy, that distracts you from your life's mission. Or if you're doing your life's mission and following what you really feel called to do, that will tend to naturally bring in somebody of the same vibration as where you are, where you're going to. And so it's during this time period, a lot of reflection, a lot of meditation, prayer, grounding, to really dig deep into what are you being called to do. And this is that transcendence. So transcending whatever the 3D scenario is that's keeping you from your highest path. And watch for synchronicities. And that will appear as messages from your guides, messages from spirit. But you have to be awake enough to be looking for it. And then also with your chakra activating, you may start to feel some of your gifts coming online, some third eye activations. Also, as you have some of these communications, that can help kind of open up your throat chakra, being true to yourself. Because remember, North Node is in Aries right now, which is all about being unapologetically you, using your voice, standing up for what is important to you. And it's that healthy level of selfishness. I'm putting my oxygen mask on before I help other people put theirs on. So what are you being called to do? And then your past supports your future. So that means that the lessons you've learned from the past will help guide you to the future. That doesn't necessarily mean you keep looping through patterns of your past, but if whatever path it is that you want to take, think about it this way. Your past has been preparing you for it. If you've had tough experiences, those tough experiences are pushing you to advocate for yourself. If you've had, great, wonderful experience in a certain area, that is telling you go more towards that area. So that was our message for Taurus. Next, we are going to take a look at Virgo and see what specific messages are coming in for you. All right. The Devil and Ten of Pentacles. So you have this devil energy pushing on you, and that is whatever's trying to keep you from your highest path. So that devil energy is going to be things, addictions, whether it's substances that you're addicted to, drugs, alcohol, gambling, sex, things like that, shopping, spending money, or it can be repetitive thought patterns. It can be those self-deprecating thoughts. It can be those self-limiting beliefs. It can be a person. It can be a job. If you've seen that movie, The Devil's Advocate, the old movie, not old movie, but probably 10, 20 years old, with Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. It could literally be that your career or your job that you're in is pulling you in an unsavory direction. So that's something to consider, that devil energy, and sometimes devil energy too is laziness and procrastination. But then you also have your Ten of Pentacles energy coming in, which is stability and affluence. And those two can go together. And that's something to be mindful of, is a lot of times that pull towards, I want to stay in this job. I don't really like it. I don't think that it's a very rewarding, fulfilling job, but gosh, does it pay the bills? And yes, obviously you need to be able to feed yourself and your family, put a roof over your head, clothes on your back type of thing. But are you letting that devil energy pull you down too much? Are you letting yourself stay in a field that feels unrewarding because of the fact that there's this shiny appeal of the Ten of Pentacles? So definitely do some reflection on that and make sure that what you're doing as a job is consistent with your values and where you want your life to go. And do it from the mindset to, don't do it from a lack mentality of, oh, well, I won't be able to afford this, I won't be able to afford that. Have faith in the divine that you will be provided for. If if you need to make a change, that you will have enough to be able to do that. All right, let's take a look at love and relationships. We have our Five of Pentacles, and we have our Ace of Wands in reverse. So for Virgo, we have the Five of Pentacles in both directions here. When we were looking at this in general, it was this sense of like accepting what can't change. So you're connecting with your friends to be able to move on. Because this situation really has had you feel like you are locked out of your blessings, and that there's been all these lost chances, lost opportunities. And so this energy is sitting kind of right here for you, Virgo, and really double down on time spent with your friends, people that have your best interest at heart. They don't have an ulterior motive. They don't have an agenda of, oh, well, I really hope that they do get a divorce or split up, or, oh, I really hope they stay together because, I like hanging out with their spouse's family. Like, make sure that it's people that really have your best interest at heart, and that will help you move past this cycle of feeling locked out of your blessings. All right, so with our life path and mission, we have our Nine of Wands in the upright, and then we have our Eight of Wands in the reverse. Your Nine of Wands in the upright is kind of this persistent, like you're making a stand, but there's bad timing that's going on here. So some of this, the timing of and actually, I mean, you have your Nine of Wands in both of them. So really lots of energy, lots of future energy of making this stand and this persistence of wanting to move forward with a certain idea. And I think it's maybe taken a while to get there because there is this slowness and kind of a little bit of bad timing. But I think you have this understanding or this realization of, wait a second, my gifts were being wasted and I need to do something that better utilizes my skills, my gifts, my talents. And so this tower is coming in, but it's going to take some persistence from you to be able to rebuild in the wake of this tower. But yeah, definitely since you have the Nine of Wands in both of them, that's something that's coming through. Let's take a look at, let's pull a timing card for when this tower, I mean, it has it in the current energy, but when is that going to be happening? Like, and it says, make it happen now. So you're really being called to just go ahead and let this tower happen so that you can rebuild, because part of it is also if this is going to be changing or coming to an end, if you have a new path, if you have a new mission or purpose, that can definitely help you overcome and move past this energy. A new start is coming. So it looks like with this, you are in that phase of new things coming in for you. But remember, like down here, you have to have the tower before that can happen. And, this sense of moving on before that new start can come. So kind of closing up this scenario. You might be making a change on the job front if you feel like you do have that devil energy that's pulling you in a direction with your job that you don't really want to go. But that's good optimism for the future and birthing a new age. So looking at those colors, and actually, I mean, even with that one in there with the grays and purples, these are going together. This birthing a new age, birthing new creations, dreaming a new world into being. So let your life path change to be able to bring in that new direction. And this is that transcendence, letting it go beyond where you are right now and really bring in something new and wonderful and rise. So I think, and this may have been I can't remember if this was in Taurus or if I was talking about this in the general reading, this sense of this is kind of like the Phoenix energy, that it has to burn to ashes so that you can rise up. And this is what that card is. It's rise up from the ashes and really step into your calling. So for you, Virgo, it looks like in the first half of the month, there's really a big push to have some massive realization and overhaul as it pertains to your life path and mission. So it looks like you're really going to be coming online there. All right, that was for Virgo. And last but not least, we have Capricorn in our earth signs. So let's take a look and see what messages want to come through for Capricorn for the first half of the month. Alrighty, Capricorn. Job and career. We have the Chariot in reverse, and we have Death in reverse. All right, your Chariot in reverse is kind of that sense of lack of direction, and you have this unbalanced energy, and you kind of don't really have much of a drive forwards, and it's like you're afraid of being trapped. So here's a close-up of this Chariot card. And some of these may resonate more with you if these look like your dog, if you have a dog. And then we also have our Death in reverse, and that is that there's a resistance to change and kind of this lack of movement, and you're not wanting to welcome in inevitable change. And there is a sense of loss. So if you're sitting here in this energy of, you know, feeling like you've been unrewarded at work and like you're trying to negotiate something new, but then you have this dull, directionless energy. I mean, that's kind of what some of these are too, is you don't really have this direction. And then with death in reverse, like you're resisting the change and you're resisting, movement in a positive direction. So let's pull one more. Does Spirit have any more specific advice for Capricorn from a work perspective? The Empress. And that is about sitting in your kind of fertile, flowing, abundant, feminine nature. And that's a lot about creativity. This may be a very functional job, like a very process-oriented job, and you really need to be able to move into something more creative. And if you can negotiate that and usher that in your current job, that could be helpful to be able to avoid some of this dull, indecisive energy. But if you're not able to bring that in, I think you're still going to be stuck with this choice of, what do I do? Do I stay in this job that's unrewarding? And that's something, you'll have to think about that for you. How does it affect you and your loved ones if you stay versus if you go? But part of it too is understanding and having confidence in the universe that there is enough abundance to go around. All right. In terms of the love and relationships line, we have the Hanged Man, and then we have our Three of Wands in reverse. And the Three of Wands in reverse is about clinging to the past. And it's this stagnant energy. There's these obstacles and this frustration. And the Hanged Man is a little bit of that as well, that it's self-imposed, and you're trying to ponder change, but there's a sense of like sacrifice. And you do want to have some sense of rebirth or improvement, like seeing things a little bit differently. Sometimes hanging out with your friends, they can see things differently because they're not as close to the problem. But there's definitely this energy of like clinging to the past, and that's kind of what needs to be let go of. Clinging to the past, either that you're seeing things with rose-colored glasses and it's really not very good, or you're clinging to past hurt within the relationship and letting that sit there and fuel your current state. So from a timing perspective, it was, when is this going to like resolve itself, this moving on? And it's once you forgive yourself. So if you're clinging to the past, like I should have done this, I wish I had done this, I regret having done that. Once you can forgive yourself and say, this is all just part of the journey, then you'll be able to move on. But if you're still blaming yourself, and even if it's something, say the other person cheated on you. Oh, I should have seen it. I should have seen it coming. Why didn't I see it coming? Of course that happened because I always choose, bad partners. Once you can forgive yourself for it, you'll be able to move on. But you're going to still keep looping through pain if you keep blaming yourself and, you can't forgive yourself. All right. And let's take a look at life path and mission. King of Cups in reverse and strength. I love this little, it looks like it's a little Yorkie riding on top of this lion. And then we have King of Cups in reverse. So King of Cups in reverse is going to be the sense of like worry and stress, a little bit of, manipulation, but having that strength. I think this card is less to do with manipulation in this reading than in some other readings. I think it's just worry and stress because this tower is happening. So there's naturally that sense of fear of, oh my gosh, there's this big shift that's happening, which I would say is probably coinciding here with the eclipse. We had a total solar eclipse back in 2017. And that was, if you think of it as kind of like almost a portal that like something that was going on then is kind of coming full circle now. So having that strength to kind of ride it out and say, yes, this is a big jolt, but I know there's a reason for it. I know there's a plan for it, and I'm okay. The divine has me. Adjustments are required. So this is frankly, in any of these situations, adjustments are required. I'll put one more as well. And then it says, don't let pride get in your way. So some of it, in terms of forgiving yourself, don't let pride get in the way of being able to forgive yourself. Don't let pride get in the way in terms of staying in a job that you don't want to be in. So I think that probably goes in one of those two lines up there. All right, light worker card. Let's see what we've got. Pleiades. Double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. So there's a double mission here. Even though one of your missions may be coming to an end, maybe you've already fulfilled that part of your mission. Just because there's a tower, it doesn't mean that you were wrong, but you may not have the same mission over the course of your entire life. Maybe in the first act or the second act, you have one mission, and then when you get to a different phase of your life, you have a different mission. So it's not necessarily a matter of, oh, I picked the wrong thing 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It's just, you may have already finished out that soul contract. But you do have, part of your mission is channeling and uplifting humanity. And so know that whatever struggles you go through, that sometimes that's part of a healer's journey, is to go through that so that they can have a better understanding of what other people are going through. And that is almost like it's your, it's like what you did becomes the roadmap to healing for somebody else. So I love it that these two happen to come out together. So this is acknowledging that you are the creator or co-creator of your experience here. So some of it is this earth energy, which is you. You may have other energy coming in from a fire sign, maybe a Leo that's coming in, and you kind of have this red fiery energy of being able to forgive yourself and create a new experience for yourself, because you are the creator, Capricorn, of your experience here. So really think over the next week about what is it that you want to manifest and what experience do you want to have, and pour some time, energy, thought into that, especially going into the eclipse. What is it that you want to bring into reality for yourself? So I hope that you found this message to be helpful, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. I will be doing some additional readings, like twin flame readings, is this your person readings, pick a pile readings, and those will be coming out within the next week. So make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when those videos post. Otherwise, I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.